The AC130, or also called the Angel of Death, is one of the best known aircraft in military aviation. But its reputation and name hide a dark secret. It's flawed. One of these flaws is its size. Yes, the big size of the C-130 which it's built on allows it to carry a lot of cargo. But when circling a battlefield, it also becomes a huge flying target. This makes operation at day extremely risky. Modern manpads can make even night operations extremely dangerous, which leads to the necessity of electronic countermeasures. These are very, very expensive and hard to maintain. So a smaller country can't have a flying gunship. I want to fix these issues by reducing the size of the C-130 or of the AC-130 down to a Cessna Caravan. Yes, you heard me right. This thing will fit inside of the space of a Cessna Caravan. To achieve this, I have to make some sacrifices in armament. So the 30mm Gatling gun will be the only gun in this aircraft at the end. Let us now begin making this thing better, or in a sense make it smaller than it currently is. So first we need to set some goals. So the first goal will be that we have to use the airframe of a Cessna. The second one is that we have to use one of the original guns. The third one is that the airframe still needs to look familiar to a Cessna, and we also can't change the size too much or the wing shape. And also one requirement is that it has at least 30 minutes of fuel. I think these requirements should be enough, so let's make a quick drawing of the aircraft now. So there's another thing that we first need to do before we can start even thinking about how this will look. So first we need to choose the type of Cessna that we actually want to use, because there's a lot of different versions of Cessna. So I decided to take the Cessna 208 Caravan. Maybe some of you know it. It's popular in skydiving because it's a small plane that still is big enough to fit some people and actually can carry up to 3 tons. So maybe we can go around and take that to make this thing fly, or to force it to fly with a 30mm Gatling gun, because that's the weapon I chose, because the 105mm howitzer is so big that it probably generates so much recoil that realistically speaking, every bolt of this plane would be shook so much that it probably just would fly out of the aircraft. Also, every person working in this aircraft would hate me if I put a howitzer in there, because I can't put an autoloader in there because of the weight, and then you have to load it yourself, and in this very cramped space that's not really possible to, or it's not very comfortable to load these shells from hand. So you may ask yourself now, how will the 30mm Gatling gun actually shoot out of this aircraft? Well, that's easy. We're just going to open the entire side of the aircraft up and rotate the Gatling gun out of there. This has another advantage, and that is that the drag of the massive Gatling gun sticking out of the aircraft isn't that high while in normal flight. And you could make it look like a civilian aircraft if you really wanted to, but I believe that's a war crime, so don't do that. Please don't. This is not the only modification we have to do to the aircraft, though, to make this thing fly. Because after adding all of the ammunition and the Gatling gun and the fuel and the electronic warfare systems, the small system, it's mostly radio equipment, what would be in this thing to make it very cheap, this aircraft suddenly, like a miracle, weighs almost 8 tons. So the normal stock engine won't do anything and won't even come close to the takeoff weight that we need. So I put a jet engine in this aircraft. Yes, call me a cheater, because jet engines are very powerful, but that's what we need in this aircraft. And due to my restriction that I set myself, we can't just put two more propeller engines on the wings. So a jet engine in the back part of the aircraft it is. And with all of that being said, we come now to the end of this video, or more or less we come to how does it fly, how does it actually perform. I fixed one of the issues that the real AC130 has. I didn't fix. I don't know if I made it worse, but it's probably the same. Because the takeoff distance of this thing is ginormous, because it weighs so much and the engine isn't really, it doesn't have that much power to, well, if I put, let's say if I put a bigger engine or a better jet engine in there, this thing would take off very fast. But it's a very weak engine in there, so it doesn't. But I wanted that. It's a very cheap engine, so it's not as powerful as a high super power and with afterburner and what all that. It doesn't have an afterburner. It's just basically the stock engine of Flyout you get when spawning in the engine, with some little minor tweaks to it to make it a little bit more powerful, but not much. Also, this engine is powerful enough to propel this thing to around 100 meters a second. So I'm totally fine with that. I don't need any more speed in this thing. It's already very fast. Also, this thing has an interesting way of aiming it. You basically look out of the window and then press the fire button and hope your friendlies don't get hit. I know there could be better systems that you could make or could put in there, but I didn't want to put them in there, honestly, and it just makes the aircraft cheaper, because that way it costs around $1 million to make one of these things. Yes, 800k, but Flyout doesn't show everything, so I say just it's around $1 million to build and construct this aircraft. And with all of that finally being said, we are ready to fly. Or more or less, you have to again watch the short that I posted. It should be linked somewhere here, probably in the top right corner. I hope I don't forget that. So with all of that being said, we were ready to fly. And thanks for watching. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see us in the next video.